Imagine for a moment that life is a vast forest. Each path seems inviting, each turn full of promise. Yet many wander aimlessly, mistaking motion for progress, effort for achievement. Success, you see, is not found in the number of steps you take, but in the direction of the first step. Purpose is the unseen compass that guides every life worth living. Without it, our days can drift like leaves on a river, turning whichever way the current wishes without ever reaching a shore of meaning.
We toil, we strive, we busy ourselves with achievements and acquisitions. Yet if the labor is untethered from a true aim, it is as if we have spent our lives constructing castles upon sand, beautiful,
perhaps, but incapable of withstanding the storms that inevitably come. Purpose gives shape to our actions. It gives weight to our hours and a direction to our choices. When we act with purpose, even the smallest deeds acquire significance, for they are steps along a deliberate path rather than aimless motions in a void. Consider the life of a man who wakes each morning with only the fleeting desire to please himself or to avoid discomfort. He rises, eats, works, and rests, but the rhythm of his days is without harmony. There is no melody, no coherent pattern linking one act to the next. He may achieve much by worldly standards, wealth, recognition, influence, but if these are not instruments of a larger purpose, they fail to satisfy the deepest part of his being. Purpose, in contrast, provides a sense of continuity, a thread that ties together the disparate moments of life into a coherent narrative. It allows us to see each act, each decision, not as isolated events, but as steps in a deliberate journey towards something enduring and significant. Purpose also acts as a filter through which we measure opportunities and choices. Life presents us with innumerable paths, many of them enticing or convenient. Without a guiding aim, we are susceptible to distraction, seduced by novelty, or swayed by popular opinion. Purpose grants discernment. It allows us to say no to what is irrelevant, trivial, or destructive, and to say yes to what furthers our true mission. This is not a restriction, but a liberation, for it spares us from the exhausting task of pursuing everything and succeeding at nothing. When our intentions are grounded in purpose, our energies are focused, our decisions clarified, and our achievements amplified because they are aligned with a higher aim. Moreover, purpose nurtures resilience. Life is seldom smooth. Difficulties, failures, and disappointments are inevitable. Yet a person anchored by purpose does not collapse in the face of adversity. The storm may rage, but because the heart is tethered to a reason greater than immediate pleasure or comfort, endurance becomes possible. Purpose transforms hardship into opportunity, loss into learning, and delay into preparation. Even suffering gains a form of dignity when it is endured in service of something larger than the self. The trials of life cease to be arbitrary punishments and become instruments through which character is refined and resolve strengthened. It is also worth noting that purpose is not discovered in haste. It often emerges slowly through reflection, struggle, and honest engagement with our deepest convictions. Some may search far and wide, only to find that the purpose they sought was quietly revealed in the tasks, relationships, and callings they already possessed. Others may be jolted into clarity by a single moment of insight or a profound challenge. Regardless of the manner of discovery, what matters is that the individual recognizes it, embraces it, and allows it to shape all subsequent choices. Purpose demands commitment. It requires us to prioritize the enduring over the ephemeral, to invest in what truly matters, and to resist the seductive allure of trivialities. Ultimately, purpose above all is the rule by which a life becomes remarkable, not because of fame, fortune, or fleeting success, but because of coherence, integrity, and meaningful contribution. It transforms ordinary days into a journey of significance and ordinary actions into steps toward greatness. When our lives are directed by purpose, we no longer drift but sail with intent. We no longer merely exist, but live with a depth and clarity that leaves an imprint not only on our own hearts, but upon the world around us. In the quiet yet unwavering insistence of purpose, we find the true measure of success and the secret to a life fully realized. Integrity is the quiet backbone of any life worth honoring. It is the invisible thread that binds thought to word, and word to deed, ensuring that what we profess in our hearts is mirrored in our actions. Without integrity, even the most dazzling achievements are hollow. They are like brilliant masks that conceal a face of emptiness. People may admire success for a time, but the absence of integrity ultimately corrodes trust, diminishes respect, and leaves the soul unsettled. To live with integrity is to cultivate harmony within oneself, so that each step, each choice, is consistent with the values we hold most dearly. It is not a grand spectacle or a dramatic act, but a persistent and humble alignment of character and conduct, which over time shapes destiny in ways that wealth or fame never can. Consider a person who pursues goals by cutting corners, bending rules, or compromising principles. At first, the gains may appear tangible: recognition, profit, or influence. Yet, these gains are fragile because they are built upon a foundation of pretense rather than truth. Without integrity, accomplishments are always shadowed by anxiety, suspicion, and the fear of exposure. Each success carries the weight of compromise, and each decision becomes a moral negotiation rather than a clear step forward. In contrast, a life lived with integrity offers an enduring stability. Even when outcomes are modest, the inner peace that comes from knowing one has acted rightly is itself a form of success beyond measure. The world may not always applaud, but the individual experiences a quiet confidence that sustains through trials, criticism, and uncertainty. Integrity shapes our interactions with others. Trust is the currency of all meaningful relationships, and trust is born of consistent honesty and moral courage. When we act with integrity, others learn that our word is reliable, our motives are transparent, and our actions are guided by principle rather than convenience. This does not mean perfection. Everyone errs, and mistakes are inevitable. Integrity is measured not by the absence of error, but by the willingness to acknowledge faults, take responsibility, and make amends. It is the ongoing commitment to let truth govern behavior, even when it is inconvenient or costly. Through such consistency, character is demonstrated not in speeches or proclamations, but in the pattern of everyday decisions. Moreover, integrity is intimately connected with self-respect. When one acts contrary to one's values, there is a subtle but persistent erosion of dignity. Guilt, shame, and inner conflict accumulate, quietly undermining confidence and clarity of purpose. Conversely, each action aligned with principle reinforces a sense of wholeness, creating a life where decisions need not be rationalized or defended. There is freedom in transparency. There is power in the knowledge that who we are on the inside is faithfully expressed in the life we lead. Over time, this alignment strengthens resilience, allowing individuals to face criticism, setbacks, and moral dilemmas with courage and composure. Integrity also guides choices in ways that are cumulative and transformative. Small decisions choosing honesty over convenience, kindness over expedience, fairness over favoritism, build character far more than isolated heroic acts. These seemingly minor moments shape patterns of behavior, cultivate reputation, and establish a moral compass that directs future actions. The true measure of integrity is not in extraordinary deeds, but in the quiet constancy of principled living.
It is this steady consistency that fosters credibility, influence, and the ability to leave a lasting impact on the world.
Ultimately, integrity in every step is a commitment to live with authenticity and moral coherence.
It transforms ordinary decisions into expressions of character, turning work, relationships, and even challenges into opportunities to embody truth. Success without integrity is fleeting, but a life grounded in principle endures, leaving an impression not only upon the self, but upon all who encounter it. To walk with integrity is to walk with purpose, courage, and clarity, and in doing so, one discovers that the measure of a life is found not in what it achieves alone, but in the honesty, courage, and consistency with which it is lived. Every journey, no matter how long or daunting, begins with a single step. This step is more than a mere movement of the foot. It is a declaration of intent, a statement that the destination matters enough to act upon. Many people delay indefinitely, waiting for the perfect moment, the exact alignment of circumstances, or a guarantee of success. Yet the truth is that no perfect moment exists, and certainty is a luxury rarely afforded. The first step is not only the beginning of a journey, but also the measure of courage and commitment. It transforms intention into reality, and in that act of motion, the abstract becomes tangible. Without it, even the clearest vision remains nothing more than a daydream, a whisper of what might have been. The first step carries significance because it sets the trajectory of all that follows. A journey taken in the wrong direction, no matter how vigorous, leads to frustration, wasted effort, and disappointment. In contrast, even a small but deliberate first step toward the right destination aligns subsequent actions, creating momentum that compounds over time. The direction chosen initially becomes a lens through which future choices are interpreted and decisions are weighed. Each successive step is informed by the one before it, and thus the courage to move deliberately at the outset can shape the entire course of a life. This is why indecision or hesitation can be so costly. Not because the first step is inherently monumental, but because delaying it allows inertia to harden and opportunity to slip away. The fear of the first step is often the greatest barrier. Uncertainty, self-doubt, and the awareness of risk can paralyze even the most capable individuals. Yet courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. Taking the first step does not require certainty of success, but it does require confidence in one's purpose and trust in one's capacity to learn, adapt, and persevere. The act itself is transformative. It changes perception, builds resilience, and creates a sense of agency. One realizes that the journey, while challenging, is navigable, and that the unknown is not a threat, but a space in which growth occurs. In this way, the first step is both literal and symbolic, bridging the gap between thought and action, potential and realization. The first step also teaches humility and patience. Rarely does a single step suffice to reach a goal. The journey requires repetition, discipline, and sustained effort. Each forward movement, however small, is a reaffirmation of commitment and a testament to endurance. Recognizing the value of incremental progress cultivates resilience and prevents discouragement when obstacles arise. Success is rarely instantaneous. It is the accumulation of countless deliberate steps taken over time. The initial step, then, is a promise to oneself that the path, no matter how difficult, will be pursued with persistence and intention. Finally, the first step transforms the unknown into possibility. A vision or dream, unacted upon, is inert, powerless to shape reality. Action imbues it with life, signaling to the world and to oneself that the goal is worthy of effort. The courage to begin attracts resources, opportunities, and allies that were previously invisible.
Doors that seemed closed begin to open, not through luck, but through the natural consequence of decisive movement. In this sense, the first step is the catalyst of all progress, the spark that ignites the momentum necessary for achievement. Ultimately, the first step defines the journey because it converts intention into motion, courage into habit, and vision into reality. It is a commitment to act despite uncertainty, a declaration that the destination matters enough to pursue. Without it, even the clearest purpose remains dormant, and the richest possibilities remain unseen. By taking the first step deliberately, thoughtfully, and courageously, one sets in motion the forces that shape destiny, turning potential into accomplishment and dreams into lived experience. The journey begins not in grand gestures or perfect conditions, but in that singular act of decisive forward movement. Endurance is the quiet, steadfast companion of every meaningful life. Trials are inevitable. No one who seeks significance escapes them. They come in many forms: disappointment, loss, betrayal, failure, illness, or the relentless pressure of circumstances beyond our control. The measure of a person is not found in the absence of these difficulties, but in the ability to persist with courage and clarity of purpose despite them. Endurance is not merely survival. It is the deliberate choice to continue forward when every instinct urges retreat. It transforms suffering from a source of despair into a crucible in which character, resilience, and wisdom are forged. Trials test the alignment of one's life with purpose. When the storm of adversity strikes, superficial goals crumble, and only what is deeply rooted endures. Those who persevere through difficulty reveal the strength of their convictions and the sincerity of their efforts. A person who abandons effort at the first sign of resistance may achieve fleeting success, but it is hollow, lacking depth and durability. Endurance through trials demonstrates not only strength, but also the capacity for growth. Challenges expose weaknesses and illuminate areas where effort and attention are required. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity for self-examination and refinement, shaping the individual into someone capable of withstanding even greater trials in the future. Patience is a critical companion to endurance. Life's most valuable achievements are rarely immediate, and the path to fulfillment is often long and circuitous. Impatience can drive hasty decisions, shortcuts, and compromises that undermine progress. Endurance requires the understanding that meaningful results emerge from consistent effort over time, often in ways that are invisible or unrecognized in the moment. The act of persisting, even without immediate reward, builds inner strength and fortifies resolve. It instills a quiet confidence that comes not from constant affirmation, but from the knowledge that one is moving forward despite obstacles, anchored in purpose and principle. Endurance also cultivates perspective. When confronted with trials, it is easy to view suffering as a punishment or an insurmountable barrier. Yet, over time, those who persevere often recognize that challenges serve a higher function. They clarify priorities, sharpen judgment, and deepen appreciation for moments of ease and accomplishment. The struggles themselves become part of the narrative of achievement, inseparable from the triumphs they precede. By enduring, one learns to distinguish between what is trivial and what is essential, between fleeting frustration and enduring significance. Each trial survived becomes a testament not only to capability, but to wisdom and discernment. Furthermore, endurance inspires and influences others. The courage to continue in the face of difficulty radiates a quiet authority and draws respect. Those who witness steadfastness are encouraged to confront their own challenges with greater resolve. Endurance is contagious. It creates a ripple effect that strengthens communities, relationships, and shared endeavors. The individual's journey through hardship becomes more than personal. It contributes to the growth and fortitude of those around them. Ultimately, endurance through trials transforms the nature of success. Achievement that comes without struggle is fragile and easily lost. Success forged in the crucible of challenge is resilient, meaningful, and deeply satisfying. The trials themselves, while painful, are not obstacles to be avoided, but instruments through which strength, character, and purpose are revealed and solidified. Endurance is the bridge between aspiration and accomplishment, between potential and realization. By meeting adversity with courage, patience, and steadfast commitment, a person not only reaches their destination, but emerges from the journey stronger, wiser, and more capable of embracing the full measure of life. In this way, the trials endured are not merely obstacles. They are the very forge in which enduring greatness is shaped.